Hello there again, guys. Uh, it is time for the usual Monday routine of mine, this time in a video form for the first time. Every Monday, I like to go through the tournament entries for Aang, see how many people have played my list in tournaments, how they performed, what card choices they maybe made, like some adjustments, and just see overall if even the lists that are not necessarily the turbo build that I've made, but if they still adapted some like technology from the build. As you can see, it's a new environment, new apartment, settling in. You can see here is a cozy picture on the side. Still settling in, but if there's some echo, I think my noise filters are pretty good, so it shouldn't be too bad, but just bear with me. We still don't have too many like uh, picture frames, posters, that kind of stuff in here, so it's a little echoey. But I guess let's just hop into it. First up, what's new in the list? I guess I should go through that. Primer wise, there are some things I've mentioned that I want to do. Just in case you are not aware of the section, do always check the update log. I always keep that up to date. I add things that I want to do, for example, these, with the latest being the bottommost things, and then I also cross over if like you've checked this before and then you see that, oh, I've made something, then you know that you can hunt for it somewhere. The actual update log, I do update this if I add some things to the primer itself, not necessarily just the things that I have in here as work in progress, but also just some general thoughts. Like if I have some ideas that I want to test, I do post them here. So like this is the section. If you're following this list closely, this is the place to do so. The tournament showings, this part I also update every Monday pretty much, and I'll maybe make a video every Monday. I don't know. We'll see if I have the time and energy, but today it is an Easter holiday, so it's a day off for me. So happy for me and to have time. Anyway, new things in the list. I guess the biggest change is the removing Lonis as like as a win condition technically. Lonis is one of those cards that I really like. Something that I talk about a lot on the Discord is that if I have some cards that I've proven to be good, I've tested them, I've seen them perform in lists, although I don't believe that much in like actual tournament results in terms of single card choices, as long as the single card choice isn't very easily tutorable, apparent for the like meaningful for the strategy, I would say. Like for example, if we looked at a card like Food Chain, then if there was a significant difference in the conversion rate between inclusion of Food Chain and the exclusion of it, then maybe sure, like that could be a card. But when we look at more universal lists like Timna Chrome lists, if there's something that would significantly change the strategy, then maybe it could be something to look at, like, oh, these lists have performed well. But overall, I think because this format is a high variance format, even though you have mulligans and you have a free mulligan, like it's one of the strongest tools in this format, just single cards here and there might not come up at all in a 7-round tournament, not to even speak of like smaller tournaments with 3 rounds and a top cut, for example. So this is just like something more of a philosophical thing for me, which is that if you have a card here and there, if you're stressing about a single card choice, a single slot that you're using, if the slot is like the 100th slot and it's amongst from the group of cards that could be the number 100, which could be the 130th card in a blind environment, but maybe for a certain environment you want to value it higher, like Timna and Chrome may be running like Drana and Linvala or Curse Totem, for example, which were like some ideas for the first Euro champs that I considered. I played Timna Chrome there. But anyway, like overall, just as kind of food for thought, is single cards aren't that impactful, that meaningful, unless the strategy itself highly depends on it. For example, if we talk about like Upsal spells lists, then sure, Balustrade Spy is probably a card you want to run. But these are like those no-brainer things. Those are the first cards you include in the list, not the 100th. But anyway, so the biggest change is Cut of Lonis. I will soon explain how you win without Lonis. And also Renegade Doppelganger. These cuts are not cuts that are done by me saying that the cards are bad, but rather something that I want to do with the list is test out different things, like small changes at a time. Although the biggest change just recently was changing up the land base a bit and including more hard to interact with interaction, but I'll talk about those in a minute. But just like overall, Lonis Doppelganger, both of those cards are really good. I've tested them extensively, they've performed well. Like if you run them, sure. I still think Lonis is much better than any initiative creature because Lonis fulfills multiple roles. It is for its value, it is ever so slightly some disruption, and also it's just a win condition. Like it works as one of those pre-Aang doublers where the floor of Lonis is good if you get to cast Aang, and the ceiling is absolutely like it just wins you the game. Similar principle as Cream of the Crop, Season of Growth, these things, but Lonis exchanges your probabilities of Aang triggers hitting a chain continuer in favor of having the added value aspect of what if it doesn't happen, and also it being on a creature where you could technically end on it. So, but like overall, if we tier list those Season of Growth, Cream of the Crop things, Cream of the Crop is still in the list for me. It just sees it increases the probabilities by a fair margin. Lonis doesn't do that, but Lonis works as an infinite outlet for infinite flickers. But I still think with an option to win the game without Lonis, which is certainly more janky even than Lonis is, but still just having one win condition is enough, especially if you're on Flickr Wisp and these kind of things. Now, if we talked about lists that are not on these effects, like Flickr Wisp and Glimmerpoint Stag, then things get a little iffier. Like if you don't have a way to police the board, then you would have to look at things like copying Grand Arbiter, for example, but like there's just a lot of options, but what is the most efficient slot usage is Cephalid Coliseum. So Renegade Rallier, it's an awesome continuer. It has synergy with Brennard, with Luminous Broodmoth, all these things, so it's just really good. New card, Glorious Protector. This card has been interesting for me. I got a foil of it like some time ago, and it essentially reads, on the surface it says like if you have access to 2 chains and you get to end on this thing and start the new chain and you get to remove this by flickering it or whatever, you win the game. And this idea is similar to the planar guide, where you're able to produce multiple chains through one card. Planar guide is still better in my opinion because it's easier to cast because you can just cast it, like before Aang, and also the fact that it doesn't require additional chains. As long as you have mana, you can do crazy things with it. For example, first chain you end on a Soul Herder, then next turn you start a new chain, get Planar Guide, and you have access to mana because you didn't play any spells. Turns out it's pretty good. But Glory's Protector, this card has a lot of combos. I haven't even explored all of them, but just on surface level, like having access to this, a clone and a Felidar creature, or like whatever, even just Felidar Guardian and Glory's Protector, if you can do so that Glory's Protector has eaten a clone, for example, you have Felidar Guardian entering the battlefield. What you can do is now blink the Glory's Protector. When it comes back, state-based actions are checked. You have the clone underneath. You can have it enter as a Felidar Guardian, and then you have two ETBs, which is the Glory's Protector EDB and the Felidar Guardian ETB. And what you can do is target the Felidar Guardian's ETB at Glory's Protector and have Glory's Protector be on the stack above that. Now you eat up the other creatures. Glory's Protector has resolved. Now you have the Felidar Guardian trigger, which flickers the Glory's Protector. And now what you do is you have the Felidar Guardian and the clone entering back, clone entering as an Aang, and Felidar Guardian as itself. And then you do this loop over and over again, and you have infinite Aang ETBs and whatever. Main theory for this card is that it's also alright if you have access to like other sack effects. For example, if you have a food chain out, then you can remove this outright. But still, it's an interesting card. That's why I'm trying it. And Touch the Spirit Realm and Airbender Ascension have come back. These were done after my previous tournament, which I covered in the video, and it could have been, well, it was great. We'll leave it at that. The tournament was great. Theory worked, deck worked, everything was nice. Even though I faced against turn 1 Torpor Orb in my round 1, which I managed to draw, and a lot of interaction in the finals and all that stuff, but sometimes you get hit by unfortunate probabilities. The main idea for these are that these are multi-purpose tools. I've talked about these before as well, but these cards that double up as Aang enablers as well as interaction are something that I value much higher than just outright interaction. Like in terms of ephemerate and stuff, I still think Touch the Spirit Realm is better. The scenarios where you have access to one white for an ephemerate is usually because of a Felidar Guardian. Like if your chain ends on a Felidar, then you could flicker that an ephemerate. But then again, you would be casting ephemerate, which gets hit by a lot of interaction. And also you would be ending on the Felidar instead of using the Felidar to continue the chain and maybe win outright. So anyway. Then Boseiju, as well as Otawara. I cut 2 fetch lands because I'm off Lotus Cobra currently. So fetch lands don't have that much value outside from kind of their main purpose, which is color fixing and shuffling things from the bottom of your deck into the actual deck, into random positions. And by this, let's just look at the random opener. What I mean with this is, say we had an LED here, and this hand would be like a 5-card keep or something. We would see like, 2 of our 2-drop clones are in here. That's pretty bad. Like we only have Juwari Shapeshifter, so Renegade Rallier isn't that often online as a continuer. Another thing is that Luminous Broodmoth is here. Another thing is that Restoration Angel is here, which are both, this is a combo enabler. Restoration Angel is just a creature that sticks around, which has upside with Gigantoplasm and all the regular clones. Now, if we had to mulligan this hand, like, or rather we keep this, we would have a ton of good cards going to the bottom of our deck, and if these were just rainbow lands, we would have them stuck on the bottom of the deck, which is very, very hard to get access to. Like, unless we find a chain that includes Salvation Swan and then you start 2 new chains, then maybe you could see these cards. But usually the chain runs like it doesn't run until the bottom of your deck. You don't go through your whole deck. You go through enough to threaten wins, but still going through your whole deck is rare. So what fetch lands do, like, which is not necessarily a surface level thing, this is more of a deep, kind of a complex thing to think about when you think about including fetch lands. Like in pretty much any other list, fetch lands don't serve any added functions, like in such a meaningful way. But specifically for Aang, where you care about the construction of your deck, fetch lands reset that. And because in mulligans you see your hand, you can do that beneficially for you. Like you can keep those cards that you do not want to see from your like Aang flips. You can keep those in your hand and put the other cards onto the bottom. Now the good question here would be, what would you keep here? Like say you have access to a lot more mana. Probably, in my case, I would keep Phantasmal Image in hand and bottom the other cards. And this would be just so we have a 2-drop that we can cast and start a new chain. But even with all that talk about fetch lands, there's only 3 fetchables in the deck. Not always you want to like randomly put the construction of your deck. Like if you have just bad cards in your hand, then sure, bottoming those cards is pretty okay. So they don't have that much synergy. Okay, I need to retract my thoughts. Like fetch lands are good, but currently I want to try just the added removal because at least in my local meta, there's a fair bit of random stacks pieces. There's a lot of Arkham Dagsons, there's Magda, there's Oswald, and these kind of effects. So Otawara answers everything, Boseiju answers Grafdigger's Cage, Torpor Orb, these kind of effects. Sometimes Boseiju can be relevant also against Eidolon of Rhetoric, either Sworn Canonist, and these usually are good effects for us to have on the table, but for example, if you have a food chain out or you get to build like a good board, then sometimes being able to cast extra spells is good. So how do you win with this cutoff alone? It's like we don't have any outright cards that win. Like we have Flicker Wisp, sure, we do have Renegade Rallier and Cephalid Coliseum, but how do you find those? Not a single card in this list currently says like draw a card on ETB or that kind of stuff. So how do you do it? Well, the answer is pretty neat overall. What you do is, once you've assembled infinite flickers with Aang and infinite Aang ETBs, you can do infinite Starfield vocalists or whatever. What you do now is you have Charming Prince enter the battlefield. Get all your other creatures as well, but the end state is like you Charming Prince, you do infinite Scries, and you scry Cephalid Coliseum onto the top of your deck. Now Cephalid Coliseum is the topmost card of your deck. Now how do you draw it? Well, we do have some added layering in our clones, because clones are wonderful, they have random text. Wax and Shape Thief has the text of cycling. Well, it doesn't help if it's not in our hand. Like if you put it to the board, you need to get it to your hand. But not a single creature in our list says like bounce target creature to your hand. So there goes that. Well, what can you do? Well, you get Sakashima of 1,000 Faces out. Legend rule doesn't apply. You have Wax and Shape Thief, enter as, maybe the Sakashima. Then you have Sakashima the Impostor, enter the battlefield, actually in the opposite order, doesn't really matter. But what you do is you get an absurd amount of clones, like say 8 clones that have the Sakashima's ability, and one of those cards has to be Wax and Shape Thief. Now with infinite mana due to Felidar Guardian entering, what you do is activate all of those Sakashima's abilities, and by activating it, it returns to your hand at the end of turn. As long as it's your turn, you go to cleanup, and due to cleanup, you first cycle the Wax and Shape Thief. Now you have the Cephalid Coliseum in your hand, and then you can just discard it down to hand size. The other option, if it's on your opponent's turn, you can use Volrath's Shapeshifter, so basically the usual one that we use to choose and discard the Coliseum and then start the Renegade Rallier loop. So if you see me talking about Wax and Prince or Wax Prince, then I refer to this win condition that way. But those are pretty much the changes for the list. Brago is another slot that I'm currently testing out. Brago it doesn't continue the chain outright. Brago is good to cast before Aang, and if you end your chain on Brago, as long as your opponents don't have removal, it should just win the game. The good added upside of Brago is that if you have a hand with like Mana Vault 2 lands Brago, what you can do is land Mana Vault, then you can play Brago, then next turn you can attack with Brago, blink the Mana Vault, and then you can cast Aang, and then next turn you have access to both Brago and, you know, the Aang's chain that goes until whatever it ends on. But those are the changes, I would say. Some cards that I'm currently thinking of. Daydream is interesting because of the flashback. I'm not sure if I will actually end up running it, but I want to test it out. Grand Arbiter is interesting because it works as a win condition and a ramp piece, but it's not good against Cradle decks, and there's a lot of Cradle decks and Kinnons, so I don't think it's like that good. It can shut off interaction that would be used at our opponents, but, you know, maybe. Prime Speaker Vannifar both works as a sack outlet for the on-death creatures and works as a tutor. We don't have any 6-drops in the list. I don't think I would run Ishtola even if we ran Vannifar, but what I would do is include Omni-Changeling, because now you would have access to essentially a free clone, which is an alright card to have in your hand, but also like eating up one of your 4 drops to get Omni-Changeling out is pretty good. Now, I guess, on to the other stuff. Oh yeah, positive mention. This was something that I was happy about. There was a thread about what are some of the best written cEDH primers relevant to the current meta in 2026. And without me knowing, somebody had mentioned that the winner has to be the Aang Guy's 74-page primer. Linked my list. I saw this comment because someone mentioned me, and it was really heartwarming. Like, I'm happy to be titled as the Aang Guy. So it was really, really nice to see. It is certainly a labor of love. It has been a lot of work, and it's still a lot of work, but I still want to keep just going at it because I think the project is just so cool and the results are speaking for itself as well. And speaking of results, I guess this is the moment that we've been waiting for the Monday, and this is the tournament showings part. So if you don't want to, I guess, I mean, if you're watching this, then you maybe know where you would see it in the thumbnail, like, or the teaser bit where we're going at. Let's see, James Robinson, 6th out of 19. Our internet is a little slow. Just looks like a stock mid-range list and no technology here. On Eternal Scourge alongside Mist Hollow Griffin. I don't like either of those, but Alex Barrow, Alex was the first player to run my list in a tournament, I'm pretty sure. And they performed well. It was the 40-person invitational Spanish tournament, and they were in semifinals, which was really cool. Now, this looks very familiar. I'm happy to see this. 1 and 2, so 11th 11 out of 22. So solid. With one draw, probably would have been win and in, but or rather top cut. But let's see. Doppelganger. Let's see if Lone is here. No Lone is here, so going for the Waxen Prince line. Otherwise, we see the usual suspects. Those ones. Same. Okay, so Deafening Silence is the card probably instead of Glorious Protector, if I saw right. Yeah, so no Glorious Protector, but Deafening Silence, and otherwise looks like it's the same list. So very cool. Yeah, I know that they've been liking the Deafening Silence. It's a meta call card, so it's one of the better stack species. Easy to cast, doesn't really hinder us, so I like it. I guess I should actually take this and edit as we go. It doesn't take too long, so just bear with me. Let's see what it was. April 5th. Then we do this. And then we do like so. And copy the name. Maybe I could do this afterwards so you don't have to watch this, but there we go. Let's see, Jake Ryan, 22 out of 62. I see Mana Dorks. Oh yeah, this is Fin Kill on discard. So basically the, like, my build but with Dorks. And Badger Mole because of the Dorks. White Plume, personally not the fan. There's just better cards in my opinion. White Plume has the upside with like Avacyn's Pilgrim and Birds of Paradise and Noble Hierarch to play the instant speed flickers, but we're not on, like, we're only on Hide on the Ceiling, so I think it's some synergy that I like with it. Emiel, but no Derevi, I think. And probably on Cradle because of the Dorks. I would be on Derevi in this kind of a build. Although it's still like very, very similar. But let's see, I think no Broodmoth. I like Broodmoth personally. But very nice still, very nice still. Let's take that. It was 4th of April here. And it was 22 out of 62, I think. Yes. Jake Ryan. And there we go. Like, I try to get all of those that have had some wins. Dustin, 0-4. Unfortunate. Mid-range. This is the very old build with like Eleshnorn. 9th out of 102. Oh, let's go. It is. I love to see this. 100% tournament. 9th, whatever it's called. That is sick. Dashiel, I've seen Dashiel on Discord. They've been feeling really good about the list. They said they were one card off of me. So let me see if I can reverse engineer it. Doppelganger instead of Glorious Protector, maybe? Yes. Those are the same. Deafening Silence also. Okay. It's good against like Turbo, so maybe at some point I'll play it, but I don't know. I feel like, at least in my region, people play pretty conservatively. So, and if it's like a turbo pod, usually you can just go faster. Like Rograk Silas can sure go for like a fast turn 2 win with like turn 1 Necro, but I still feel like those hands are like conditional. They need quite a bit of cards for that. So, but this is really cool to see. I'm interested to see what the top cut actually was like. Ratadrapik one, let's go. We have a Finnish guy who's been playing all this. Oh, Cedes I like to see. Mardu stuff. But yeah, Ratadrapik is, I think it's a really good Orzhov choice. Interesting decks overall. Very little Tymnachrom here. Very, very nice Dashiel. Let's go. And let's see, 4th of April as well. It was 102. Yes. Solomon. Beta wheel. Ratadravik got a beta wheel. Hell yeah. Congratulations. This is very nice to see. Big tournament. MB. Let's see what we see here. Looks like usual mid-range stuff. Linvala I like. Continue is nice. Alright. Marcel Röser, 3rd out of 18. This is interesting, like, this looks like a hybrid thing immediately. Like, there's Tezzeret, then there's, like, Loyal Retainers, Identity Thief, lots of clones. Chancellor is fun. But still there's... Ephemerate. No Relic. And there's still, like, Technologia. Technologia. Was there... There's no Safi and those. I think Renewal is worse than Safi and Melira. This is like... It's kinda close. Ewit. No Diamond Lion. Was there LED? No, I think this is a little too off. Gabriel. Looks like a budget thing. Christian Shiloh. Loading. Mid-range spaghetti. Lily Splash. Michael Hart. Mid-range stacks. Thomas. Mid-range. Mid-range. Rodney should be mid-range. I think he's one of the players, or they're one of the players that have been playing this same list a lot. Now we're at March 28th, so I think those are what we saw. Iron Lock has been the last one I saw or featured. Let's see. Adam. Have I seen this last? Riz. Let's just make sure. Brian. This is my list. Cord. The Cradle. I guess I'll still feature it even though it's... So above Ian. 28. because this makes it easier to look at, like, if we wanted to count the conversion rate for my build. Grand. And there we go. And there we are. So today's additions. Oh, oops, didn't make a break here. Alex Barro, solid performance. Jake Ryan, solid performance. Dashiel, insane performance. And Sterling, insane performance. That one was actually not on EDH top because for some reason they don't put the lists here on top deck at level 7. Lots of US players. Critical ADH. Yeehaw. Now let's add the break here, just so I don't leave it messed up there. Alrighty, that is nice to see. And back to decklist. All right. Let me think if there's any closing thoughts from me. I always love to see like people play the list. It makes me happy. I'm really glad that you guys have faith in the project. I think the results are speaking for themselves. Like, I think the deck is just broken, like, inherently for the format. You're asking your opponent to have multiple things, and like, it just plays really, really well into how the game is and how the game is played. Like, you have some certain unknown stuff that's beneficial for politicking. You are really fast. You can contest the turbo decks. If like a Ral is ahead of you in seat order, then sure, maybe that's gonna be like too fast. But still, Rally's kill on sight. These should happen before you get to cast Aang. And if you get to cast Aang, like, there's still the uncertainty. Just triggered abilities, like, you're hindered by stacks pieces that are really, really rare. Like, if you go into big tournaments, you would be expecting to see like Timna Chrome, Timna Thrasio, Skinnan, Ceesay, Rograk Silas, and these kind of stuff. If you're playing against these decks, you're not playing against stacks pieces. And most of those lists don't really have that many interaction pieces for Aang, which is nice and is part of the main theory for the list. But alas, we have arrived at the conclusion of this video. Our Monday sesh is over pretty much. Stay tuned for the list. Keep checking out the changes and keep playing the list and have fun. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.